Medishare has a new option called Medishare 65 Plus. Medishare is a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it really is a community. People encourage and pray for each other. And Medishare 65 Plus is a low-cost option for those with Medicare Parts A and B that fills in the gaps where Medicare stops. You can lock in one low monthly price for up to 10 years. It's great for peace of mind. You can use your Medicare-approved doctor and get prescription savings, dental and vision savings. Very worth looking into, and it's so easy to find out why people rave about the customer service at Medishare. They're great to talk to on the phone. Here's the number. Call 833-45-BIBLE. That's 833-45-BIBLE, 833-45-BIBLE.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
Take advantage of the warmer weather and come explore Liberty University's campus, ranked number 4 best college campus in America by Niche.com. Join us for Experience LU, an all-day event that shows off our dorm rooms, classrooms, and award-winning dining hall. Or, if you're short on time, attend a 4-hour student-led campus tour to hit the highlights. To learn more or schedule your visit to Liberty University, text Visit LU to 49596. Again, that's Visit LU to 49596.
A high school teacher boasted on social media about creating an explicitly queer space in his taxpayer-funded classroom. The teacher kept his name and location private. He said most days he comes to school wearing stilettos, boasting about standing 6'6" in heels. The teacher also bragged about coming to school in drag and makeup. He said school administrators had no problem with his behavior, and they were just glad he was making a safe space for kids. Now, this guy is a sex and gender revolutionary, using his classroom to indoctrinate and confuse kids. Whatever happened to teaching young people to be good and productive members of society? Whatever happened to reading and writing and math and science? And whatever happened to teachers who used to wear sensible shoes in the workplace? Homeschool your children, America. My new book makes a terrific stocking stuffer, Our Daily Biscuit Devotions with a Drawl, available right now at toddstarnes.com.
The Hamilton Corner podcast and one-minute commentaries are available at afr.net. Back to the Hamilton Corner on American Family Radio.
Welcome back to the Hamilton Corner. Guys, I'm telling you, I didn't promise it. I promise you I didn't intend to do all of that. But praise God, he's leading the program. This is why I say, if our country really wants to root out ethnic partiality in our country, we should probably do some of this Darwinian evolution confrontation, the vain logismos, vain imaginations, or speculations in some translations. It doesn't say censor them or ignore them. No. We don't have to eject Darwin from the schools. But before you get to Darwin, you should talk a little bit about Samuel Morton. And then talk about Samuel Morton, and then talk about Darwin, and then scrutinize their ideologies and philosophies. Take some of Darwin's scientific hypotheses and then hold them up to the evidentiary record. Because much of what was postulated, the root of it, the origins of it, you shouldn't be surprised about it. A lot of the ideological underpinnings that drove Samuel Morton's scientific discipline were assumptions that were theological in nature. He made assumptions about God and the Bible, which is why we shouldn't be surprised. And I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I've read a lot about it. Matt Walsh's What is a Woman documentary. Much of the conversation from, the gender theorists and the professoriate, the college professors and gender studies and all of that, they are objecting to the notion of truth. They are contending that there's no such thing as truth. There's no such thing as objectivity. There's no such thing. Guys, these are theological notions. Didn't y'all hear me say before that politics is nothing more than the externalization of one's theology or religion? Because it is. Think about one of those old gangster movies. They always come back to me. All of these conversations, you could try to skirt it as much as you want, but they always come back to, what does man understand and believe about God? the fundamental root of all of the contention in our society is whose word will prevail. Is it going to be God's word or is it going to be man's word? He says he made them both male and female in his image. Man says, he made them zim, they, she, z, all of these, these pronouns. They, zer. Y'all get the point. Now, I mentioned yesterday about, I'm telling you, bluest of blue, San Francisco, where they recalled the now former district attorney, Chesa Boudin. I didn't even go into the fact that this dude's parents were two Weather Underground terrorists who were the getaway drivers. After two police officers and one security guard were murdered, they were both convicted for murder, served prison time. Then Chesa Boudin was raised by Bill Ayers, leader of Weather Underground, also close confidant, friend, and financier of one Barack Hussein Obama. Not making this up. Well, as this is happening, I'm telling you, I think Mr. Tommy Ford might have something to say about this, but it's amazing to see. I'm describing it as a dance now, the regressive shuffle. You know, when they've run out of explanations, they do the rhetorical regressive shuffle. And you have people trying to explain away. So wait a minute, you're trying to tell me they say progressive, extremely progressive, which y'all know I call regressive, extremely regressive San Francisco. The San Francisco electorate no longer supports regressive policies? Is that what you're telling me? Well, God, this is funny. Oh man, Justin Miller, writing for New York Magazine, he sought to explain away Chesa Boudin's recall. And then Boudin's recall. This follows the recall of 3 San Francisco school board members, right? He wrote that, well, San Francisco isn't really left-wing, really. It's not really left. Bobby, don't laugh so hard, man. He said, guys, I'm serious. This is what he said. He said San Francisco isn't really left-wing. You see, it's become too wealthy, and it's being taken over by Silicon Valley, the tech industry. So it's not really left. What? Oh, there's more. There's more. This is hilarious. This dude had the nerve to tweet this on June 6th, 2022 at 7:59 a.m. Justin Miller said, quote, San Francisco was governed by Republicans for most of the 20th century, and it doesn't really rest on a New Deal foundation and increasingly lacks a working class population to bolster progressive candidates, end quote.
Cole, you stupid.
He said that, y'all. He said San Francisco, well, most of the 20th century, you had Republican mayors. Dude, you going back to 1964? The last Republican mayor was in 1964. And he said, I'm going to read the tweet again. Quote, San Francisco, governed by Republicans for most of the 20th century, doesn't rest on a New Deal foundation and increasingly lacks a working class population to bolster progressive candidates, end quote. Time out. Mr. Jeff with the fresh fade and sharp line, and I have a question for you, sir. If San Francisco lacks a working class population to bolster progressive candidates, who elected Chesa Boudin in the first place?
Cole, you stupid.
Guys, this is a regression shuffle. Step, side to side. This is the shuffle. This is literally they want to go with. Well, this is happening in San Francisco because you do know San Francisco is not really left wing. Oh boy, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is truly happening on this day. I can't believe it, man. This is crazy. That's what you're going to go with? San Francisco is not really left wing. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Goodness. Now I have to address a this is so disturbing. A sad story. This one comes to you by way of the Baltimore public school system, specifically Baltimore City Public High School. According to an inspector general's report, and remember, the inspector general usually in governmental entities usually is some form or modicum of some like a neutral source of accountability, things of that nature. The inspector general released a report on Baltimore's public high schools' practices, and it has, quote, confirmed the existence of a massive grade fixing scheme, end quote. That quote is from the Maryland governor, Larry Hogan. As a result of this inspector general's report, its governor, Larry Hogan, has referred the matter to both the U.S. Attorney's Office for investigation because Baltimore public school system is one of the most highly funded in the country and simultaneously one of the most poorly performing. And so he referred it to the U.S. Attorney's Office because of the federal funding, and also to the state attorney's office because it seems that there is a significant breach of state law in the state of Maryland. Listen a little bit to this clip. That's clip number one. Go.
We began this noon with breaking news out of Annapolis.
Minutes ago, Governor Larry Hogan weighs in on the new report on city school grading.
Sina Gabriel is here now with the governor's call for accountability. Sina, what's he saying?
Well, Lynn, Tim, Governor Hogan wants the state prosecutors and the U.S. Attorney's Office to investigate that report. It accuses Baltimore City schools of changing the grades of 12,000 students from failing to passing between 2016 and 2020. This all came from students complaining about receiving passing grades despite their poor academic performance. Parents we talked to are shocked and angry.
Make sure the child is actually passing for real. And not just go on and pass them, because it's not good for them in the future. You gotta learn how to count money, reading. They need to go to school.
Our children need a good education so they can get good jobs and all that. And there's so much going on in the streets and stuff with our kids now.
Guys, this report broke my heart. It broke my heart. The report follows a more than 3-year investigation between 2016 and the end of the school year, the end of the 2019-2020 school year. The inspector general found 12,542 examples of where high school grades were changed from failing to passing. Maryland's Governor Larry Hogan said that the scheme was so extensive that they now have to call into question graduation rates for the city's public schools for those years, from 2016 to the end of the 2019-2020 school year. Governor Hogan said, quote, the report reveals a staggering level of disregard for the integrity of the educational system and a clear lack of accountability at the highest levels. For years, the school system has denied and dismissed allegations of grade fixing and tried to sweep it all under the rug. None of this should be allowed to happen in any school system, let alone in one of the most highly funded, large school systems in America. End quote. Reading this, guys, I immediately think about the children. Do you really think that these people who are changing these grades were truly interested in helping these children? If you have people, and I don't know the specifics of the individual stories, but if you have people, for example, that may be functionally unable to read, and you change their failing grades to a passing grade, do you honestly think you're helping them? And you see these things happening around the country. Punctuality is white supremacist. Literacy is white supremacist. Articulation of the English language is white supremacist. Diligence in study is white supremacist. Who really are the oppressors, if you want to use that terminology? And I said earlier, I ain't boxing in the ring that Satan plays. But just go with me for a second. What is really oppressive? Passing somebody on if you know they haven't passed? And then ask yourself this question: who really benefits from this? Because if the child doesn't benefit from it, who really benefits from it? Do I even have to say it out loud? The teachers' unions. The unions don't want it to be exposed that, oh, now it's 12th grade. Now these are high schoolers, guys. Oh, these are high schoolers, and they can't pass the minimum basic skills to pass high school. Could be a class, a few classes, but 12,542 examples? 12,542 examples of changing failing grades to passing grades. This is unconscionable. Unconscionable. Yet this is happening. As I read to you the quote from Governor Larry Hogan, there had been speculation for years there that this was happening in the Baltimore City schools. And the protests would respond, how dare you? How dare you? Now, the report is out. The Baltimore City Public Schools are confronted with it, with the results of the report. And their response was, quote, we were, quote, fully cooperative with the Maryland Office of Inspector General during its nearly 3-year exhaustive review into grading practices in city schools. We've also committed to a fresh audit of current grading outcomes during the 2022-2023 school year. If they are interested, City Schools is open to sharing information and insight with other government entities pursuant to their statutory authority to ensure a clear understanding of student grading. That sounds great now that you've been caught. But what about the children who've already finished school, at the end of the 2020 school year? Don't you think you should have been submitting to an audit for current grading outcomes, I don't know, a few years sooner?
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.